Hello and welcome to Zenjo Tangling Tips and Techniques. I'm Jo Quincy, and today in this video I'm going to show you how to draw the tangle Pokeleaf. Pokeleaf is one of my favourite organic tangles and can fit into an area. You can adjust it to fit into all sorts of wonderful spaces. Okay, I'm going to move that name tag out of the way. Make sure you're nice and comfortable, that you're nice and relaxed. Always just take a moment for that first step in Zentangle, that moment of gratitude. Just think about what you've been grateful for, and maybe it's sort of grateful to give yourself just a moment for yourself. And when you tangle, you can tangle for sort of 5 or 10 minutes, or you can tangle for an awful lot longer. Okay, so Pokeleaf. I'm using my Pigma 05 pen today. You can use whichever pen you want to use. Pokeleaf, I'm not going to do a string. I'm just going to show you where I'm going to start here. So I'm going to start down the bottom and I'm going to draw a stalk. So I'm going to do this fairly big actually. So I'm going to do a nice long stalk here. Let me make that a little bit bigger for you. And over the top of that, I'm going to put a cap. If you've seen the video on poke root, you will see that that's exactly the same start. The difference is now what you do to make this poke leaf. So I'm going to start here around about halfway down, and I like to see it as almost like a back to front upside down heart shape. So you come up to a point and then you can bring it down, and there you go. And that's your first little poke leaf. Okay, so you can keep now adding these poke leaves. So I'm going to add a stalk here, popping the little cap, and I'm going to draw an up, down heart shape. They don't have to be exact. This is an organic tangle, okay? So just think about where you might like it to go. So I'm going to pop mine here, and this one's going to go underneath here. So you can see this one's slightly fatter than this one, and that makes them quite nice. So down here, oops, I'm going off the screen. Down here, I'm going to do a stalk that comes off the same place as the first one. Okay, it's very close to this one, so I'm going to start my sort of back to front heart leaf shape going up here, and then I'm going to do it. Stop there, holly ball, imagine where it goes, and reverse that curve. Okay, so we just keep adding these. You can do them in all sorts of curvy ways if you want to fit them into a little space. It's a very forgiving tangle, and is quite fun to do. So I've sped up now. I went sort of quite slowly to start off with, but once you get the sort of flow of it, you can see that you can draw these tangles, fit them in to all sorts of places. So here I'm going to imagine where this one goes. It's going to come right round here. So where it bumps into another poke leaf, I holly bore underneath, which is the technique of drawing underneath that tangle or adjacent shape. Okay, so that is very simply how you can draw poke leaf. So that one's got a slightly flatter edge. I'm going to take one up here as well, so you can have fun with filling your whole tile with these poke leaf. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm not going to do any more of those poke leaf. I'm going to finish that off on the bottom down there. Let's make that a little bit back there. I'm now going to, this is just for this tile, I'm going to aura around the outside of these poke leaf. Just makes it a little bit more, finishes it off. I don't always do this, but today I thought that's what I would do, just to complete what I've done. So it's going to be a standalone tangle here. I can come down here and add this aura around the sides here. Okay, now in these areas here I am just going to add another tangle. I'm just going to pop some tipple orbs just in the, like in the little V shapes. I don't worry about them being all the same shape. It's quite nice or size. It's quite nice to vary them so that you get a little bit of texture alongside your poke leaf. There we go, and just a few in this one. So tipple is one of my go-to tangles. It's a very simple tangle, but it's a joy to do. Okay, between these I'm just going to add a little bit of ink. So I'm just going to black out between those orbs. Blacking out, take your time. Just dab the ink in. What I would suggest now for these upper edges along here, where you've got the round orbs, add a little bit of rounding. Okay, it's literally a tiny weeny little backward curve, as if you've dropped a little bit of water. There's a little bit of water dropped into that space, and what happens then is it just sort of completes those areas of tipple, gives it a nice finish, and it's those attention to detail. Okay, so just enjoy this blacking out. Take your time. As I said, I'm using the Pigma 05, and it's like a PN, a plastic nib pen. It's the one that Zentangle headquarters has as an apprentice pen. There we go. Okay, so I've nearly done all my tipple here. Okay, and I'm going to reverse back this way. These little dips in the thing there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some shade to these poke leaf, and that will make them stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to grab my pencil, my graphite pencil, and my tortillon, and shading is going to be very similar to that I do for poke root. So we've got this little cap here. I'm going to add some graphite underneath that cap and just soften that out a little way, just with a little bit of pressure on your tortillon. Adding that graphite there means that it causes the eye to think it recedes away from you. Doing the same where this leaf taps over the one below, as if it's casting a shadow. And by doing that, it makes your eye believe that this leaf is below the one on top. Okay, so just take your time, soften it so that you lose that harsh pencil line. And this one then, underneath that little cap, I'm going to add a line of graphite just down this side. So you can take your time with this. At any point in any of the videos that I do, or any other videos you watch, if you need to just pause it so that you can complete a little bit, that's perfectly all right. I mean, that's what makes these videos, these little videos, so useful, is that you can also pause, you can go back and have a little look and remind yourself. And sometimes having a little video to follow when you just need some inspiration can be really useful. So you can see I'm gradually working up these poke leaf. You can see where I've added graphite just on, I'm adding graphite really just on one side of the leaf, being careful not to fill the whole leaf with grey, otherwise it becomes flat grey. You need to have some contrast when you're adding your shades, so you need the contrast of the white to make the shade work. Okay, so there, we're nicely getting these lovely Pokeleaf into towards that tipple. Okay, so you can see even with the ones that we've just shaded already, how they're beginning to change, and you get that 3D look by adding the graphite. And the pencils we use, this one is a Zentangle pencil, which is a 2B pencil. You can get softer ones if you want to add softer, darker graphite. The harder the pencil is, like an HB, it becomes more difficult to blend the graphite. Okay, so always go for a softer one if you can. And as you can see that. And you've got a little bit of graphite on the end of your tortillon, so use that if you need to. Don't feel that you always have to pop a little bit more graphite down. And with Pokeleaf, you can use it as a filler. You can use it here almost as a monotangle. You can use it as a border. So as I say, it's a very forgiving tangle that you can fit into a number of situations. So enjoy, when you're using your tortillon, you can actually feel the fabric of the paper underneath. And it's that also being in the moment of enjoying what you are doing. And it's not just about creating this lovely image, it's about enjoying what you are doing and being conscious of what you're doing. Okay, I am going to add just a little bit of shade onto the tipple. Now this is just one way of doing shade onto tipple. You can see I'm adding some sort of little half smiles, so it's about a third of the orb, and I'm only doing it on the larger ones. I'm not doing it on the small ones. Once you've done about a third of that, I'm just going to soften it, and I'm not going to let that graphite go out to the side. I'm just going to soften it so it comes about 2/3 of the way around the orbs. This then, because it's dark, it makes it look like this recede away, and you get these sort of almost semi sort of donut shapes appearing. Gives it that little bit of depth. I'm going to use just the graphite I've got on that tortillon there, so you can see it adds that little bit of texture to your tipple. So although this was a Pokeleaf, sorry, video, so it's nice to have some little extras like on tipple, what you can do here. Okay, so one more area that I want to add the shade, and it's where these little stems, these little stalks come out from the leaf before. Okay, so I'm just adding a little bit of dark where those stems, very tiny, you don't want to take it all the way up the stem. I'm being quite brave with how much graphite I put down here because I want those to be quite nice and dark. I'm going to do the same here. Okay, but I'm not taking all the way up the stem, just at the base, and that just makes them look like they're tucked in underneath. So there we have a little Pokeleaf and tipple tangle for you. So I hope that you can go away and enjoy it. Please leave any messages below. I'm always interested to hear what you've got to say, and if you'd like any particular tangles for me to do a video, please pop me a message too, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.